Caucus, I say. All right, I had that Chinese food like 5 hours ago, and I think I'm still kind of high from it. Caucus. I'm so sorry. I'm kind of an idiot. What are we doing? What's going on? Yes, it is Francis' fault for the word timbre. Oh, those bastards. What was that, Dirk?
So we're doing more murders.
More murders. It's what we do. Oh, yeah, I should. I'm catching up on the odds and ends again. I'm so proud of myself.
Awesome.
I realized a few weeks ago, or I guess last week maybe, I hadn't posted any since Renee and I got together. Whoops. And I was so close to being done. But since I've made that realization, I think I've posted like 6 or 7. Something like that. So I'm slowly catching up. There are, I think with this one, that means there's 10 left unposted. And since I'm doing them 2 at a time, it should go pretty quickly. And then I can just make doing the odds and ends part of my weekly routine. Because I don't think I've been caught up on odds and ends since I started it so many years ago.
I feel like you usually give us progress reports, but I think you started with, this is how close I am to getting caught up. So,
yeah, because it's terrible. When I started working on the Lord of the Rings thing, like in earnest, I sort of quit doing the odds and ends because I only have, so many hours in the day.
Right.
Since I had
fairly
to like
common problem, I hear.
Yeah, well, especially since I've had to ramp up doing like twice as many dash shifts in a week as I used to because everything got more expensive. So I have even less time to work on literally anything. So my bad to all of the lifeguards out there who might be listening to this. But I got you. I'm getting caught up. There's been one scheduled for like almost every day this week. I think the last one went up this morning or tomorrow morning. I forget which. So, and it was all of 5 minutes long. Cause you guys remember that time when we did like, I think it was 39 minutes. And then I went down to start the show and saw that we were all muted and said lots of bad words.
Yeah.
The singular time that happened, because I feel like that's happened more than once.
Sorry, within the last 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Yes,
the post-show
I
odds
do.
and ends were like an extra 2 minutes of, all right, well, it's late. You guys, good night. So the entire odds and ends, instead of being between 30 and 60 minutes, like most of them are, was 5. I was like, oh, whoops. Sorry about that. But at least it didn't take long to get posted.
Well, there you go.
Because I listened through them at 1.5 speed and like jot down notes and remove any personal information. Brian had something I had to edit in one of them. So in 2 of them, one of them was a censor sound and one of them actually just cut out. So I have to do all that. And this one I was like, done. Oh. But anyway, all right, let's get going. Here, did things just mute for anyone? Did I mute? I did not. Guys, say something.
Yeah.
Something.
Okay, thank you.
I can hear.
All right. Did you hear any of that question mark? Everything on my end looks like we should still be going. Razorback heard it. Okay, so it's probably just Fuji. Dang it, man. All right, anyway, here we go. For real. Oh, jam. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mana Pool. This is, episode 695. of the Manapool. Huh. We're not planning on stopping at 700, are we?
Not.
Did you say I don't
Planning
know?
I don't remember us discussing that.
Okay.
Feel like this is kind of coming out of nowhere, but
Well, because, that's when we stopped Monday Night Magic. And we had been planning that for a while, but we didn't actually say anything about it until, I think, 698. So I figured I would just let everyone know we have no plans of stopping at 700. If we do, it's not a thing we planned ahead of time, I promise. It's because I got hit by a meteorite or something.
that is a thing that happens sometimes.
Wait, really?
To dinosaurs, yes.
It's got to have happened at least once, right?
Yeah, that's true,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh man. One day, was it last week? I think it was one day last week. It might have been the week before. I can't remember. I saw, instead of just, a shooting star, which is just a streak and it's gone. I saw
Yeah.
a streak that then like blew up and split into a couple of different pieces and then was gone.
That's cool.
Cool.
I was like, oh my God, it wasn't quite what I would call a fireball, which is when you can see like the gas, like when there was a meteor shower when we were in college, me and Lex and Liz were all laying on a blanket and we saw one explode in a green flame. That was awesome. This wasn't that, but it wasn't just a and it was done. Like it was like a midpoint between the fireball and just your straight meteorite. And and it wasn't even full dark yet. Like the sun was still over there. And I just happened to be pulling into Aldi, and it was right above Aldi, because I had an Aldi order I had to go pick up. So it was so cool, and I think I was on the phone with the parents, and I was like, "Whoa!" And Mom was like, "What happened?" Anyway, I just thought I'd share that because that happened, and it popped into my head, and I'm full of Chinese food and silly. So hi,
I've been
I'm
full of
Chewy.
Chinese food for like 6 hours.
5 hours.
Oh, sorry.
So hello, I'm Chewy. I'm the lead dork, and I got all these other dorks this time. Who are you people?
I'm Brian. I'm the lead rambler, tangent master of the group, and I'm here to talk a lot. And I am not full of Chinese food, but I made chicken parm for dinner, and it was awesome. So I am full of Italian food.
I'm Mike. I'm the rules guy and the game lore guy. And the dinner we fixed was it's like sausage and potato and sautéed mushroom and sautéed squash. So kind of like a steak dinner plate, except it was sausage.
So is that Irish food? Is that racist?
I don't know.
It's just Mike food.
Oh, you're full of Mike food.
Yeah.
And I'm Dirk, the self-proclaimed greenest man alive and moral compass of the group. And I'm definitely full of leftovers that were, in the refrigerator that the kids did not want to eat. So mine involves pizza and whatever was left inside of the taco or the nacho bag.
Well, fair enough.
Just leftover chips.
Every now and then you need to have a leftover day.
I had a
And
very
just,
healthy
whatever
dinner.
was in that Tupperware container, it was great. Like,
Pretty much. That's all it was.
You
I think
sound
you may have
like
missed the last part about what Mike said. So.
it's probably better that way. You sound like me, Mom. Like, okay, the parents use me, being a single, although admittedly grown-ass man, I'm still a single man living here, by myself. The parents use me as their, like, garbage disposal. So, like, if Mom makes too much food or they eat all they want and there's not enough for both of them, they'll just pack it up and Mom will bring it to me. Or next time I come over, they'll be like, take this home with you. And so there's just always leftovers from the parents in my fridge. And Amanda called me a couple days ago and was like, hey, you want some leftover chili? because Lee, her boyfriend, doesn't like it, and I've eaten my fill. Like, she can't do the same food for more than like 2 days, or her head will explode or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I mean, sure. So I told the parents about that, and the old man was like, "Wait." I said, "What?" He's like, "We gotta share our garbage disposal with Amanda." So that's very funny, old man. Anyway. So, now that you know all about what we all had for dinner, let's get to it. We are here, of course, to talk more about the murders at Karlov Manor. Not the murders themselves. I think only Brian is aware of all of that, but we're here to look at more stuff in the set.
Yeah.
So, as far as I know, this is what I'm looking at. We've currently got it set to default treatment only and the Murders at Karlov Manor main set. So, if you guys have any cards you want us to look at that aren't one of those, you're going to have to let us know, because I can't just scroll down to it because it's not on the screen.
You know what I did realize is in the new card image gallery, you can select a rarity. If we just wanted to go ahead and, say, knock out the mythic rares, you can do that.
Hey,
But
let's do that.
let's do that. Okay, let's do that.
Also,
Mythic
you know
rare.
something we didn't talk about last week at all?
What's that?
This is the first Ravnica set that's not a Ravnica set.
It's not based around being multicolor and having the guild keywords.
Yeah, like it's not
mechanically
structured
around
like a guild set. Even though it takes place in Ravnica, it's not a Ravnica set. And that I actually kind of like, because I feel like they locked themselves into Ravnica sets always have to look like this, and eventually that well's going to dry up.
Yeah.
We may have mentioned it back a while ago when the set was announced, because they had also said it, but we didn't mention it last week when we were talking about mechanics. So,
Well, when the set was announced, I thought it was Murders at Markov Manor, so I wasn't thinking about Ravnica at all.
you were not the only one.
There have been so many people, because there was a whole exchange on the Discord about that, and I posted it across like all of the social. I was like, "Hey, this is really funny. Can I screenshot this?" And everyone was like, "Yeah." So I posted it across all of the social media accounts, and all of the responses I've gotten were either, "Oh," or, "Yeah, I thought it was Markov too," or "It'll always be Markov to me." Like, which I find funny because Teysa Karlov, like, that's always been the character's name, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
And
in
she
her
was
first
an
card, she
original
wasn't
Ravnica.
named. Well, yeah, her first card wasn't named Teysa Karlov, but the character was always like known as Teysa Karlov, right? Like, they didn't retcon in a last name later.
No. Yeah. She was always part of the Karlov family.
So the Karlov name has actually been around longer than the Markov name, which I find hilarious. But because of Soren and Edgar and all of them, you know, Sabin, Gao, Strago, I think I got off base there after the first two. But because of, you know, the Markovs being a big thing in a couple storylines, and one of the Planeswalkers being a Markov. Look, now I'm going the other way. Anyway, let's look at these freaking cards.
Mythics.
Yeah, that.
We've already covered the mythics in white. The Aurelius Vindicator.
Oh, we did talk about
last
Aurelius
time.
Vindicator.
Because we compared to the Angel of Serenity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Finally got there.
Okay.
And we talked about Delny as like the streetwise kid that's always showing up. That's like, hey, you know, I can help you solve the murder.
So let's go to blue.
So we've already done those.
I don't think we've done either of these, right?
I don't think we have.
All right. So, Conspiracy Unraveler for 5. We're doing the mythics first, by the way. Conspiracy Unraveler for 5 blue is a 6/6 flying Sphinx detective Sphinx Detective. And it says you may collect evidence 10 rather than pay the mana cost for spells that you cast.
Huh.
Good lord, that's a lot.
It is a lot, but it's also free spells, so
True.
Yeah, no.
So-
that's why.
Reminder, collect evidence means you remove cards from your graveyard. You exile cards from your graveyard with total mana cost equal to whatever the number is. So in this case, 10.
10.
So ideally, you want to save this either for big things or for surprise things like counterspells.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I have no mana up.
Supplies.
I wonder if
I
they're...
know. Sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
They're both so
I
polite.
know that the naming convention for for creature types is race and then class. I get it, and that's the way it's been for a long time. But I'm sorry, doesn't Detective Sphinx sound better than Sphinx Detective?
No, Detective
I
Sphinx
just
would
think
be
it's-
like a name.
I don't know. I just feel like it sounds better to me. So
Detective
Kinda like
Sphinx.
Gumshoe.
The Sphinx Detective.
yeah. See. So, but yeah, 6/6 flyer for 7 that can let you cast spells for no mana cost. And you're only ever probably going to be able to do that once or twice. But
But hey,
Yeah.
that's one or two free ass spells.
Mhm.
And the only thing better than free ass spells is nothing. There's got to be something, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't know. Drawing cards, maybe.
Drawing card. No, because you could just draw cards with those free ass spells. See?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh.
What are we even doing here, Mike?
I mean, self-mill decks are definitely a thing in standard right now, at least on the arena that I play. I'm not exactly an expert on organized play, and I haven't been for some time. But I see a lot of decks post. What was the last set? The Caverns, where it's throw a whole bunch of stuff into your graveyard, and then reanimate for cheaper, and then profit. And they're honestly pretty good decks. So something like this slides right in because you're already milling yourself for a lot all the time already.
Yeah, and you can pack your deck even more to the gills with big expensive stuff to potentially reanimate, and then just take your pick of whatever you want, because then if Conspiracy Unraveler is the one that comes back, then you can also play some from your hand, maybe.
Right. And the bigger the stuff in your graveyard, the easier it is to then fuel those with this, because you want to get up to 10 anyway. So it really, yeah, I think this kind of slides into existing decks.
Yeah, I wonder if this would end up inspiring like a new variation on Oops All Spells.
I was just thinking, finally, a reason to play Spelljack.
Finally.
Doesn't Spelljack cost 6?
Yes.
Costs a lot. But hey,
Oh,
doesn't matter how much it costs with this, except bigger is essentially better, as long as you have something to do before this, or unless you don't ever get this.
yeah, to be fair, I don't mean actually cast Spelljack. I mean pitch it in the graveyard. And
Yeah.
Then use it to collect
No,
evidence.
I'm with you. That red dinosaur that when it comes onto the battlefield, you exile cards on the top of everybody's, and then you everybody's library, and then you play one from each player. It's like in every deck. It's in dinosaur decks. It's in reanimate decks. It's in decks that kind of splash red sometimes.
I despise Atali Primal Conqueror. I am done seeing Atali Primal Conqueror, because all I play on Arena is Brawl and Standard Brawl, and I am so cuss word sick of Atali Primal Conqueror.
Oh my
It's
god, he's
everywhere,
cuss
isn't it?
word sick.
Yeah.
Mike, do you
No,
mean you're
I'm
so damn sick?
Thi-
A little more than that.
yeah, it gets played in pretty much every deck that even it doesn't even have to be cast in a lot of them. It is in every deck pretty much. This is why when they were like, yeah, standard will be 3 years. I was like, warning, warning, because you remember stuff like Siege Rhino. You're like, I'm so glad that's gone. Mike, do you want to play against it for another year?
No, I really don't.
No.
Nor
And
Rocco's Street Chef. No.
that one I don't mind as much,
It's
but that's
so
probably
annoying.
personal taste. See
Yeah.
what I did there with the chef taste? Um,
Boo!
and
Boo!
this was, but the Atali was the one that when it flips over, it flips into the take on the not the Darksteel Colossus,
Blightsteel
the
Colossus.
Blightsteel, and I've yet to see it flip because everybody just wants the get free spells part.
I've gotten
So
it flipped on me before, multiple times. It's not fun.
mm, no. But hey, that's another card you can cast with this. Shall we move on with cards from
When you were
this
talking
set?
about big dinosaurs, I thought you were going to talk about Trumpeting Carnosaur, who has that cycling ability, sort of, where you can pay 3 and discard it to bolt something, and then you have something that nice and costly in your graveyard, and you even
Oh, there you go.
use.
For this.
Hmm.
Ah, no, I didn't even think about that. Okay.
Yeah, that seems pretty good.
All right. Are we good to keep moving?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So the next one is a story spotlight card that I was like, ooh. And then when I got to the spot in the story, it was like, huh. But it is Intrude on the Mind. For 3 and 2 blue. It's an instant. That's important. You remember Fact or Fiction? Reveal the top 5 cards of your library and separate them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of those piles. Put that pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. Create a 0/0 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying, then put a +1/+1 counter on it for each card put into your graveyard this way. Notice that this one, unlike some where the opponent doesn't know which pile they're picking or whatever, this time this is one of these piles where
Hmm.
everybody sees everything. Um, and the traditional fact or fiction is like you get to draw those cards, and this is a take on that. But then this also gets you a Thopter, so I think it's kind of interesting. In the story, and I'm not going to get into spoilers for those that haven't read it, but this is maybe like halfway through the story, a little further, and the detective Proft has a mind palace because I guess that's a thing that super smart people with adectic memories have. And at one point, he's knocked unconscious, and he finds this robed figure going through files in his mind, and the robed figure absconds with one of those files. And I think they're setting something up for a future timeline, a future storyline, because this event is actually disconnected from murders. Like it does not lead to the true culprit.
Hmm.
Have good money's that's probably Jace under the cloak, but it's never expressly stated.
That is the thing
So
he likes to do.
that right, he's blue cloaks. We haven't seen him since Phyrexia shut down, but
Yeah, and
we
as
know
I
they're not
said
just
last week, if you didn't see the body, they ain't dead.
that is a thing.
And even sometimes if you did see the body, they ain't dead. This one seems, it's okay.
The fact
It's
that
good.
it's an
Like, and
instant,
unless you do a 0 pile and a 5 pile, you always get cards. You always get a Thopter.
Oh, it's an
yeah,
instant. I didn't see that.
it's an instant, and you, the player, that these are your cards. You're the one creating the piles. The opponent is not. So I do think that is
Yeah, but they're
significant.
picking the ones you get.
Yes.
Yeah. Wait, who made the piles of Fact or Fiction?
Uh, the opponent did, and you chose.
That's what I thought.
So
Okay.
that's why you always got what you wanted.
Yeah. which is why when you say like fact or fiction, my brain was like, I don't think it is, other than the fact that there are piles. Okay. So it's not really like fact or fiction. It just involves making two piles of things.
What was the steam augury? Was when it was brought back in Theros with
I was
you
trying
make
to
the
remember.
piles an opponent chooses.
I don't remember anymore. It wasn't as good. Obviously, because fact or fiction is stupid. Mm-hmm. That's true. You do get at least some cards and a Thopter of some size. So yeah, all right. Mm-hmm. And it's an instant, so that helps a lot. All right. I'm more on board than I was a few minutes ago.
And there are going to be times when someone's going to be like, okay, end of turn, pile of 0, pile of 5. What are you going to do?
Yeah, do I get a 5/5 flyer or 5 cards? Huh? That might actually be a really good way to play this. Force your opponent to make a bad decision. But then they're always going to make the bad decision that benefits them more. So
it's the least bad for them.
Yeah.
So. But
like, I mean, if they're at 5 and have no flyers and no way to deal with it, you're going to draw 5 cards. But
that's
okay.
That's true of all the Punisher cards.
Like,
which,
oh darn, I guess I'll draw 5 cards.
Yeah, but usually, for the Punisher cards, one of the modes isn't like, draw 5 cards.
Yeah. It's not. I'm saying this is better than those.
Mm. Oh yeah.
I know Punisher cards sometimes are not. People don't always love them.
Yeah,
even though we've always had a.
Now that you point out that you could give them that horrible choice, I like this card a lot more. Because I was like, draw 2 cards, get a 3/3, draw 3 cards, get a 2/2. Those are both pretty good for 5 mana. But making your opponent choose between giving you 5 cards or getting a big ass flyer, that's evil.
It feels like the stop hitting yourself, doesn't it?
It kind of
does. You did it to yourself.
It does.
Yeah.
Huh. All right.
You have all these cards. Like, who gave them to me? Oh wait.
Well, we've done both of the Black Mythics.
We have. Although Massacre Girl is still
Clown
awesome.
Killer. I still see Clown Killer when Massacre Girl scrolls past.
I think you might have some sort of deep-seated issues there, Mike.
Yeah, I got a problem.
You should talk to somebody.
All right, so the Red Mythics. Okay, well,
I don't think we've seen either of these.
I want Dirk to read the dragon. So, hey, Mike, read the red card, I guess. Oh, it's a red rare enchantment. Oh God.
Red mythic enchantment. Here we go. Expedited Inheritance costs red for an enchantment. Wow. Whenever a creature is dealt damage, its controller may exile that many cards from the top of their library. They may play those cards until the end of their next turn. That's chaotic.
Right? I saw somebody post this on Facebook with Pyrrhemia next to it, and I was just like,
Cool.
Yeah. What is the deal 13 to every Blasphemous Act?
Yes, Blasphemous Act.
Now, Mike, just because I let you play 13 cards in a turn doesn't mean you should.
I mean, they're not free.
Yeah,
that's true.
You got to pay for.
They still they just get the option to to play them. They still have to pay for them.
That's true.
Oh God, if they were free, that would be hilarious.
Yeah, but Brian raises an interesting point. That could be a strategy. Just get some cheapo tokens out there, Blasphemous Act, basically draw your whole deck, and see if you can win in that turn.
And if you can't, the game's over for you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Razorback pointed out the exile is also a May.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did not see that.
Yeah, so you can't use this to mill your opponent out or something.
Right. Yeah. If you get this out on turn 2 and then run your 2/2 into theirs, and they don't really have a chance, they don't have enough mana to like do the stuff, they can just be like, no, I'm not going to exile. Or maybe they'll choose to because they're hoping to get a land. Because it does say play, so.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the flavor text. Astronomical wealth hinders peaceful succession.
Does.
Because it's expedited inheritance. Meaning, patricide. Or matricide.
Things were done to speed things along.
Yeah.
That's dad there.
Like, would you hurry up and die so I can get all of your things? Thank you.
Yeah.
About time.
Which is a
Please
thing
don't
that
get your
I have
blood
said
all
in
over
video games. But
Please don't get your blood all over my new tablecloth. Granted, it was your tablecloth until 5 seconds ago, but
okay, so Dirk,
Yes.
you've got to read the dragon.
All right. We have an incinerator of the guilty for 4 and 2 red mana. So a grand total of 6. It's a 6/6 dragon. That's mythic. It has flying and trample. Whenever Incinerator of the Guilty deals combat damage to a player, you may collect evidence X. When you do, Incinerator of the Guilty deals X damage to each creature and each planeswalker that player controls.
That's ridiculous.
That's great.
And it only costs 6 for a 6/6 flying trampler that could wipe your opponent's board? That's ridiculous.
So if this deals damage to a player,
Then you can exile cards from your graveyard and then deal damage based on the amount of mana, the total mana cost of all the cards you exiled.
yeah.
So, like, if they've only got, like, a bunch of 2/2s, you could just, collect evidence 2 to, wipe their board. But if they've got big things or planeswalkers with lots of loyalty or something, you could just keep on exiling until everything's dead. Because there's no limit. Like, you could exile your whole graveyard and wipe out their board. I don't give a damn.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Right, and there's no additional mana cost to do so.
yeah.
So that's the thing with a lot of these collect evidence is now collect evidence on some of these cards is essentially kicker. So you still have to pay for the original card, but on others like the Sphinx, it's actually instead of mana, or it's just something you're doing in addition to something else, but without the mana cost, which means the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
With this thing, you have to connect, but it's got built-in trample.
Yeah, it has trample.
Yeah.
So, dang.
Yeah, it's got 2 forms of evasion. Like, really the limiting factor on all of these collect evidence cards. Like, we keep saying, oh yeah, it's free. But you're limited by what's in your graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Of course.
and so yeah, and
I
playing-
like this. One of the first thoughts that came to my mind was, Sign of the Ur-Dragon.
Yep.
If the Sign of the Ur-Dragon turns into this, that means Incinerator of the Guilty is in your graveyard. So you have, 6 right there that you have access to.
Yeah, for free. Just
Mm-hmm.
it's already there. You've already used it. Don't need it anymore. Yeah, it's kind of silly. I also thought of the Sign of the Dragon right off the bat and went, "Aw."
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
there be Dargans.
Yeah. So that's silly.
So
Like, I think this counts as a bomb in limited, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like,
Because
This one wins games.
you're gonna have some stuff in your graveyard because early stuff is gonna trade it or whatever, and then you're gonna start hitting them, and it's gonna be extra removal on top of your 6/6 flyer. And if you have nothing in your graveyard, then you're probably gonna win from your 6/6 flyer because that means that your stuff hasn't died yet. So commanding board presence. Yeah.
it's just a silly card. I love it.
Now, speaking of silly cards, I know Dirk just took a card, but I mean, come on. Dirk has to read the next card because it's a Simic card.
It
And
is
it's
absolutely a Simic card.
and
Yeah.
that type line.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Dirk.
The Pride of the Whole Clade. For 10 colorless mana, or generic mana, and 1 forest. So a grand total of 11 mana. This is a 2/15. It's got a big old butt.
Yeah.
Crocodile Elk Turtle. That's mythic, and it's legendary.
You can see all of those things in its art.
Yeah, it's very crocodile elk turtle-ish. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the total toughness of creatures you control. It has Defender, and for 2 and 2 blue mana, until end of turn, target creature you control gets +1/+0, gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw cards equal to its toughness, and can attack as though it didn't have Defender.
I do like that it's not just for 4 mana this creature gets that. It's anything you've
Right.
got.
Right. Because, I mean, you look at this and you're like, yes, I want to draw 15 cards, but you still have to get through. But you could just target your flyer that has, I don't know, 4 toughness. Or 3,
Two.
three,
Two is worth
three
it.
toughness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would pay 2 and 2 blue to give my flying creature +1/+0, and when it hits a player, I draw 3 cards. That would be kind of ridiculous. And it doesn't have to have Defender either. You can just, yeah, this is pretty great. And it's
It's a crocodile elk
enormous,
turtle.
and its enormous cost is so great for collect evidence.
Mm-hmm.
This is collect evidence 11 on its own. It's got a lot of evidence in its shell.
It's got a lot of shell in its evidence too.
That's true.
15?
Sir, I believe it was the crocodile elf turtle with the mallet in the kitchen.
So that's cool. The next card is really cool, but in kind of a more subtle way, in
Oh,
that
wait a
it's
minute.
not a giant, creature.
Wait a minute.
But
Razorback said anything less than 3 I don't think is worth the 4 mana on that ability for me. Yeah.
Well, 4 mana for 2 cards repeatable.
yeah,
is
that's the
worth.
thing is,
4 mana for 2 cards one shot. I mean, 20 years ago that was good, but
yeah,
not today.
the fact that you can do it every turn, although it is 4 mana every turn, but the draw a card and draw 2 cards is still really good. So,
Yeah, I mean, there are going to be plenty of cases where you find better things to do versus spend 4 mana to draw 2 cards.
I would say at 2, I don't think I'd feel bad about doing it at 2.
Especially in limited.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, obviously in limited it's whatever.
In limited, this is utterly ridiculous because this is how this not only breaks through the board stall because you're drawing extra cards, but it contributes to the board stall on your end, because what on earth is gonna get through this that doesn't have death touch?
Yeah.
Like nothing.
But
So
outside of limited, like in Commander, for example, I think I agree with Razorback. I think I would need to get at least 3 cards.
yeah,
Maybe 4 as a minimum for me to feel like it was worth the effort.
Yeah, you're right. In Commander, you're going to find plenty of better things to do for 4 mana.
Yeah.
Sure.
Although he did point out this
Okay.
ability also stacks. So if you've got a bunch of mana, you can hit with a 2/2 and draw 4 cards. Hey.
Yeah, but then you're talking about a lot of
You
mana.
can do that,
So
but
yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, if we're talking about commander, so
But
um
it is important to remember that it does stack. It doesn't just give the +1/+0 twice. It gives the card drawing equal to toughness ability twice. So
correct.
that is a very like niche thing, but still important to note. Okay, so what were you saying about the next card there? What's your name with the face, Brian?
That's me.
You've got the face, right?
This one I think is actually really strong, and it's not super splashy, but yeah, this one's pretty good. Undergrowth Recon for 1 and 2 green is an enchantment. It's mythic, like the cards we've been talking about. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. And you're like, oh, okay. Uh,
Yeah, that's fun.
what was the Crucible of Worlds? Uh, Cost 3 and says you can play lands from your graveyard, right?
Yeah,
right.
But that is still your land card for the turn.
yeah. This is not.
This is not. And you know what came out last set? Caves that you sack to discover spells.
Oh,
Yeah.
So, not to mention fetch lands like
Mhm.
Polluted Delta.
Yeah.
Not to mention,
And the courtyards or whatever they are in New Capenna.
right? The ones that you can pay and sack to draw a card. Plus, I think some of the spheres from New Phyrexia do that as well. And none of this is costing you your land for the turn. And what's the one where you pay 2 and tap to destroy a non-basic land, like the fixed version of Wasteland? I can see it in my head.
yeah, that
A
card.
There's
land
there's several of
that
those.
there's
Yeah.
some, yeah. So to say nothing of, again, like we were talking about earlier, the self mill decks where to try to reach descend 4 or 8 or whatever, you're milling yourself, and a lot of those cards are going to be lands. This card is not busted, but this is really good with just a little bit of setup. This is ramp combined with the utility of whatever your lands are, and triggers any sort of landfall you got going on every turn. A lot of times when things are coming back from the graveyard, they may have a rider on them, like oh, what's the new marker that's when this would leave the battlefield, you exile it. So a finality counter or whatever.
Yes.
But this doesn't have that, so you can just keep getting the same thing over and over again. This combined with, at bare minimum, an Evolving Wilds is just a land out of your deck every turn, fixing your mana and lowering the amount of mana that you draw, so you raise the amount of non-lands that you draw at minimum.
Yeah. Well, we got a reminder in the chat that it brings the lands back tapped. So
Yes.
it's not it's a little slower um, than what you might think at first glance. But I think that's also why those New Capenna lands came to mind. The ones I meant are the ones that just when they enter the battlefield, they automatically trigger to sacrifice themselves, and you go get a basic
Ah,
from
I
among
wasn't
3 types, and you gain a life. Those ones.
okay. I was thinking of the ones that came in tapped, and you can pay like their 2 colors or 2 of their colors, and maybe like 2 more, and sack them to draw a card. So, but hey, either way, and when we're talking about these, um, some of these come in tapped anyway. So I agree they're not super fast, but they're still doing what you want to do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this one could be really, really good. Next, unless there's anything more we need to say about it.
Probably not.
Okay, let's go then.
Let's see. We did the new Agris Coast.
Yeah.
We
did we do?
We did not do this Proft card. We did some cards that had Proft on it.
Right. Okay.
Well, we didn't do Elquist Proft Master Sleuth. It's a good word. Sleuth. He's a filthy sleuth. So Alquist Proft Master Sleuth for 1 a white and a blue is a 3/3 human detective with vigilance. Because, of course, he's vigilant. Because he's observant. Because he's a master sleuth.
He has very high perception.
When he enters the battlefield, investigate, of course. And then you pay X, white, blue, blue, tap him, and sacrifice a clue. You draw X cards and gain X life. Oh.
Isn't that Sphinx's revelation?
It is.
Okay, I thought that sounded familiar. Huh. They're just putting that on activated abilities now.
I mean, you have to have a clue, so it's not an unlimited resource. But in this set, there's lots of ways to get clues, so...
Yeah. All right. Like, there's not much else to say. Like, what does it cost to sacrifice a clue? 2?
2.
And that's to draw 1 card?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, in order to draw 1 card and also gain 1 life, you're paying double that. So that sucks.
Yeah, Sphinx's revelation for 1 is not good.
It's not good. But
No.
it gets progressively better with every extra mana you put into it.
Yes.
Like 5 mana to draw 2 cards and gain 2 life still isn't great. But it's okay. And then from there, it just gets ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 is when you start to feel... X equals 3 is when you start to feel good about it. And X equals 4 and above is magical Christmas land, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, again, instant speed, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's
I can
weird.
see him dying a lot.
There's not much to say about that. It's just like, yeah, that's good. All right, moving on.
I mean, yeah, that we get what it does, so, yeah.
Plus,
Okay.
he's a 3/3 with vigilance for 3 in blue and white. That's pretty good, just right there.
It is.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. Did we do the Quake Mole last week?
No,
No,
we
hadn't
did
yet.
not.
Yeah.
Okay.
So another one of the old gods is coming back.
Yep.
Mole God.
In the story, this thing was in an evidence capsule at the investigators' headquarters. Like a Pokeball sort of thing. And then it gets out. So,
I wonder if he's related to the Underminer.
Yeah.
This guy is what Underminer lays awake at night dreaming he can be.
I think so, yeah. Like, my brain went to an old Kid Rock song. Yeah, I know Kid Rock sucks, but back in the day we didn't know that. But I am the Mole God. And I'm here to keep it... I don't know. I got nothing after that.
So, Dirk, what does this mole god do?
Yeah, Dirk, with your mole face, or whatever.
I was
So
thinking of
it's
his hands, but go ahead.
Onsrog, the Quake Mole, for 2 and red-green, so total of 4 mana. It's an 8/4 legendary Mole God. Whenever Onsrog, the Quake Mole, becomes blocked, untap each creature you control. After this combat phase, there is an additional combat phase. That's already fun. All right, for 3, 2 red, 2 green. So that's a total of 7 mana. Onsrog, must be blocked each combat this turn if able.
So,
So
if the opponent has any creatures that are capable of blocking this thing, then you're going to get at least 2 combats. Now, it makes you wonder, like, what is the situation where this might trigger more than once? I don't know if there's, like, I don't know, the creatures, like, when this dies, make a zombie or whatever, but, feels kind of niche.
Well, I mean, if it doesn't die in the first combat.
Yeah. Like, if they've got a 2/2, they have to go, do I take 8? And the answer to that should be yes, because otherwise you're going to lose your creature and take 8 again. So... But yeah, but it's an 8/4, so you don't really need multiple combats. So if they just are like, all right, take 8, you're like, awesome. Result, nice, all right.
Well, I'm just thinking of the situation where you activate it, and then that persists through the whole turn, which means that if they have to block it. In what situation do they have any blockers left for the next time? In theory, they would throw everything at this they possibly could. In theory.
I mean, that or when you... Oh, okay, I've just come up with something. When you want to use it as removal. They're like, all right, I can eat 8 or 10 or however much damage you've got and then kill you on the swing back. You go, no.
Yeah.
You gotta block it.
Yeah. Well, and that's like, in my head, I'm attacking with more than just this. So, because the trick with the old, you have to, what was the lure? Was not just what you were putting it on, it was the stuff you weren't putting it on. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yes.
But again, with it being an 8/4, it's gonna die.
Yeah.
If they've got stuff that can kill it, they should kill it.
Yeah. Let's not lose track of the fact that this thing costs 4 mana.
Also, wait, if they've got enough to kill it, then that means all of your other stuff's going to get to attack again.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. That is a fact.
But even so, you probably don't have an extra 8 damage to go with it. It's probably going to be what, 3 or 4, being realistic in thinking in limited terms.
Yeah.
So
you killed something.
That'll end up being 6 or 8 damage and sacrifice a creature and remove your 8/4. Yeah, it's probably worth taking 6 or 8. Or what it really does, it's got a big ass thing that says, throw your removal here.
Yeah. Which, again, and I know I've said this, but the fact that this only costs 4 is kind of ridiculous. This is doing a lot of work for 4 mana.
It is, yeah.
So, alright, that's the Quake Mole.
Oh, God.
Did we talked about Kaya last time. Did we talk about Etrata? I don't think we
so.
did.
No,
Etrata,
this does not sound familiar.
We've seen Etrata before. Last time I think we went to Ravnica, she was a card, and she was one where when she hit an opponent, you could send her back into your library and name or exile one of their creatures. And the third time she did that, I think the opponent lost the game or something. She was clearly an assassin. Here, she is very quickly fingered as the assassin.
Brian.
She's very quickly accused of being the assassin of the first person to die in the story. But there's, of course, more to it than that. So,
you guys remember that time Brian said fingered?
So, For one, a blue and a black, she is a legendary vampire assassin. She's a 1/4 for 3 with Death Touch. Face down creatures you control have pay 2, a blue and a black. Turn this creature face up. If you can't exile it, then you may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. So if you've, for example, cloaked a sorcery.
Mhm.
Whenever an assassin you control, like this one, deals combat damage to an opponent, cloak the top card of that player's library. And of course,
Oh, that's
when you
cool.
control a face down creature, you can look at it at any time, but the opponent can't. So I like the mind games here. And the fact that she's got Death Touch just means anything you throw in the way of her is gonna die. So yeah, I mean, this is really good. I could see this being a commander, just building a deck around this, and like, yeah, she plays well with disguise cards because the way that this is worded, she plays well with morph and manifest because that's more ways to get stuff face down. But you don't have to build a whole lot else around her because this is just good. So yeah, she can be both the centerpiece and she also slides into a bunch of other decks. So
Yeah, she slides into any sort of assassin. What's the word we're using? Kindred, any sort of assassin kindred deck, or any sort of morph based deck.
yeah,
Really, just those two. I mean, sure, she slides into vampire decks too, but she doesn't really do much.
vampire, death touch, but she's just a good quality card. Because if nothing else, you're getting stuff off the opponent's deck that they then probably will have a harder time playing themselves. So, yeah.
And I do like that she has the ability to either flip up cards or, if they're not morph creatures, like you said, you can cast the spell or whatever.
Yeah.
For cheap.
She's probably my second favorite card in the set that I've seen so far that interacts with face down cards. My favorite we'll get to later.
Is it a bear?
No.
Oh, okay. That might be a commander thing. I can't remember its name.
Oh, yeah. I think it is a commander card.
Oh, okay.
I've only been filtering by the main set, so.
Yeah. All right, so we did Kaya last week. What is this artifact? Well,
why don't you read it to us then?
Like what?
Fresh.
Like what? I'm just looking at the art going, what is this? Is it a walking tank?
Yes.
So those Boston Dynamic robots.
It does kind of look, yeah.
Yes, it does.
It's like if the Boston Dynamics thing in Metal Gear had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Metal Gear. Sorry. Kylox's Volt Strider. Sure. For 1, a red and a blue, I don't know why I read those out of order, is a 4/4 vehicle. Oh. Okay, and it crews for 2. That's not bad for a 4/4.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it has an activated ability, Collect Evidence 6. Kylox's Volt Strider becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. Oh, you can collect Evidence 6 instead of crewing it. Okay, I was like, it is an artifact creature. No, it's not. Okay. So it either crews for 2 or it wakes up and punches things for Collect Evidence 6. That's cool. And then the triggered ability, which I assume is the real reason people like this, is whenever Kylox's Volt Strider attacks, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from among cards exiled with it. Ah, okay. If that spell would be put into a graveyard, put it on the bottom of its owner's library instead. That is super neat.
It is.
Yeah. I like it. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it because...
Yeah, no. You want to collect Evidence 6 with it so that you have, things to...
Yeah. That's
to
the
cast.
world's zero there.
I love Isochron Scepter, But talking about Isochron Scepter is kind of boring because it's just do the stuff, you know? So, kind of how I feel about this. But Isochron Scepter generally doesn't hit the opponent for 4, so that's cool.
I mean, yeah. So yeah, we should note again, you're not casting it for free, so you still have to pay for whatever it is that you're trying to use. But
yeah. But then it's not like it exile. It's not like it flashes the card back. It doesn't exile it. It puts it on the bottom of its owner's library. So eventually, it can be used again.
Mm-hmm. I like this.
You do, huh?
You don't lose any spells. It in the long run, you're not really losing any spells.
Dirk very much does not like losing resources. In some respects, he is like the anti-Mike. Dirk, have you ever played a deck where you willingly milled yourself?
I'm gaining resources when I do that.
I know you are.
Mike really knows he's gaining resources. I'm like, well, I don't really want to. I want to make sure that the resources are being used in my way.
Right.
Which does not involve milling myself.
Exactly. You guys are ideologically
polar.
Different.
Oh, yeah.
We both like playing cards.
Mm-hmm.
Dirk plays them out of his hand.
Yeah. Like a noob. So, I have a question. It says, cast an instant or sorcery spell from among cards exiled with it. That doesn't mean this turn.
No.
Right?
Yeah,
so are you making a separate evidence pile for everything you're collecting evidence from, or just for things where it matters?
I mean, it'll just be for things where it matters. So these abilities are the way these abilities are written, the activated ability and the triggered ability, they're linked abilities. So knowing that, you need to be making a separate pile you need to be making some distinction. Say, okay, these are the cards that were exiled with Kylex's Vault Strider, because that's going to be important later.
Yeah. Okay. This is the first time that I've even remotely thought about that. Like, the Incinerator, you don't ever do anything with those ever again. It just counts it up and deal that much damage, so it doesn't matter. All right, yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just like any other. Like Brian mentioned, Isochron Scepter. The card imprinted on Isochron Scepter, you need to, that's important to make that distinction. Okay, this card in exile, this is the one imprinted on Isochron Scepter. This is important.
Yeah. Back in the day, we would do that by just putting it under it. Which seems like a good thing to do with this, too. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have another random rules question that just came to me.
Mm-hmm.
When a creature is turned face down or face up, it is not a new entity, right?
It's not a new object, no.
Okay, so if you had some cards under the Vault Strider already, and it got turned face down, and then later got turned face up without any shenanigans, exiling or anything, it would still see all the cards that were piled underneath it.
That's correct.
Okay, just I don't know why that came into my head, but I wanted to spell that out as clearly as possible for anyone else.
Yeah, there are some and the same is true for transforming double-faced cards that stay in the same zone when they transform.
Yeah,
ones that go to exile and come back, those are new objects. But the ones that can transform while staying on the battlefield, they are not new objects when they transform.
Ooh, everything's so cool. Okay, so real quick, with Etrata, if you have a Vault Strider that Etrata has, cloaked.
Yes.
Then, well, it won't matter because it won't have cards underneath it already. But just hear me out. If you have a Vault Strider, because it's not a creature, you would have to exile it and bring it back.
No, it can be turned face up. That thing about not being able to turn certain cards face up, that's just for non-permanent cards. It's just which right now is instants and sorceries.
It doesn't have to be a creature. Okay.
Yeah,
It just has to
anything
be a
that has
permanent.
a permanent, anything that has a
I'm
permanent
dumb.
type can be turned face up just fine.
Right.
I mean, I could see other people having that question too. So
Yeah,
The-
but like
the fact that her
think
ability.
about Zoetic Cavern, and think about that enchantment that was also in Future Sight.
Oh yeah.
Heck,
Well,
there's
the
a
fact
branch
that her
of V2 Ghazi down below.
the fact that her ability says turn this creature face up, my brain interpreted that way wrong. It means the face down to 2 creature, turn it face up. It doesn't mean
Yes.
turn this creature card face up, and if it's not a creature card, do the other. That's how my brain read it because I'm out of practice with Morph.
Well, Morph's been around for a long time.
Yeah, but I haven't played Magic for a long time, especially not with face down creatures. So
Well, yeah, and I'm just saying, it's not that surprising you would be out of practice with it. So
yeah, it's okay. Just in case some sort of shenanigans happen when your Volt Strider gets turned face down, you'll still have all those cards. Which that insane corner case is where this whole conversation came from. But I like to think that conversations like this are good for clarifying how things work for anyone listening who's a little iffy on it.
Oh, absolutely, because you know somebody else has had this question. So yeah.
But okay, we did not do. Did we do Melek? We didn't, because he's a weird detective.
No, it's new to us.
He's a weird detective.
He is weird and a detective.
That guy's freaking weird. What? Sorry, that guy's a freaking weird.
There's a common or uncommon weird detective that their flavor text is, huh, that's weird. And I'm like,
I remember seeing that. I don't remember what the card is, but I remember seeing that.
Oh, that makes me happy. All right, well, someone read Melek then.
All right, Melek, Reforged Researcher, for 3 a blue and a red, is a legendary weird detective.
So he's like Poirot then, right?
Oh yes. With a star power and toughness. So Melek Reforged Researcher's power and toughness are each equal to twice the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard.
Ooh.
And the first instant or sorcery spell you cast each turn costs 3 less to cast.
Oh. Jesus, Melek, save some for the rest of us. Holy crap, Gothic! Just resubbed. Are you ready, chat? For 69 months.
Nice.
Yeah, it is. Okay, sorry. Melek is really straightforward, but holy crap, that's good.
It is.
Yeah, that's cool.
Once again, a reason to play Spelljack.
It's a lot less annoying than the blue. What is that creature in Standard? Is it a Sphinx? The one that makes all of your... No, it's a genie or a djinn that makes all of your instants and sorceries cost 1 less.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about cards that we're tired of seeing in Standard. Yeah. This serves a very similar function in that it cares about the number of instants and sorceries in your graveyard and makes them cheaper, but it only affects the first one. So I'm actually kind of okay with this.
Yeah,
I don't
sweet.
know that I'm the player that this is designed for, but I recognize that there are such players. So
any kind of new, no, not a Morrow, a new Goyf type thing is good for me. I've always enjoyed that sort of thing.
See, this guy gets it.
Who, me or the weirdo?
You.
Oh, okay. All right, now we've got a demon.
we do have a demon. You like demons.
Yeah, but demons always kill Mike.
They do always kill Mike.
Somehow.
I don't think this one can kill Mike, though, so I guess I'll take it. So, Rakdos, Patron of Chaos, for 4, a black and a red, is a 6/6 flying trampling demon. Here's another 6/6 flying trampling thing for 6. Huh. At the beginning of your end step, target opponent may sacrifice 2 non-land, non-token permanents. If they don't, you draw 2 cards. Ooh, I like that.
That's tough.
Yeah, into your turn. Like, anybody want to stop me from drawing? Because non-land, non-token just means creature, enchantment, planeswalker, artifact.
Well, it's target opponent, so you can single someone
Oh,
out.
God, it's target opponent. Oh, my God.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's worse.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
better.
think my mind
It's
went
worse
to
for them.
where Chewy's was, which is the kind of like you said, who's gonna volunteer to take the hit?
Yeah, like it's a Punisher mechanic, but no, it's not. It's you. Are you gonna stop me from drawing 2 cards? Oh, I like that.
And maybe you that I pick either just is running a token deck and doesn't have those permanent, or has just had kind of a bad string of luck. So I know I'm going to draw 2 cards, or the only ones that you could possibly choose would be things like
Things that
progenitors.
I want you to get rid of. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, okay, 2 non-land, non-token permanents, that's a lot to ask to give up for your board state.
Especially when I've got a 6/6 flying trampler.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a very rare circumstance where I don't just let the other person draw 2 cards. As much as I can't stand the thought of that, but the other is worse.
Well, in which case they're getting to draw 2 cards in addition to having their 6/6 flying trampler.
Yeah.
I don't know that this one excites me as much as some of the others, but it's still good, and the art is just badass.
Yeah, I don't know if he has other treatments because I don't have that filter turned on, but this regular ass art is pretty great.
Yeah.
I really like that this is a Rakdos that isn't like a massive dick to you. Like the first couple of Rakdoses were such pains. But
yeah,
I like this one.
You even mentioned, oh wait, not a Rakdos that's gonna kill Mike.
Exactly.
Or,
well, it's not gonna kill Mike if he's the one controlling.
Yeah.
I've lost from drawing too many cards before.
I've seen you call once or twice. Yeah.
Oh my god. All right, let's read some more here.
So here's Tomek, wielder of law. Tomek is a Orzhov syndicate higher up, and this is the husband of Raul Zarek.
I was about to say, this is a Planeswalker's significant other.
Yeah, which actually ties into something in just a second. His cost is 1 a white and a black for a 2/4 human advisor. He has flying and vigilance. He has affinity for planeswalkers.
Get it?
His spell costs 1 generic mana less to cast for each planeswalker you control. But his cost is only 1, so all you need is 1. So, like, Ral. Or Kaya, but, Ral, really. Did Ral lose his spark? I don't know that we know one way or the other. But, yeah. So, he either costs 2 or 3 for a 2/4 flying vigilance, which is already not bad. Or very good, actually, I should say. Whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, as opposed to...
the wording on this one is a little weird.
I'm sure I've read this card, I know what this card does, but I had to stop for a second and think about that.
I saw in a Facebook comment thread, I saw someone explain it, but I didn't actually read the explanation. I was like, oh, because
There's got to be a reason.
But anyway, keep going, Brian.
So, whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you and or planeswalkers you control, that opponent loses 3 life and you draw a card. Which, in a duel, just means, hey, if you want to come at me with 1 creature, well, I've got a 2/4. I can probably block unless it's really big. If you come at me with more than 1, I get to draw a card, and you get punched for 3. And then in multiplayer, politics.
Yeah.
Now, what I love is the cards that are like, hey, you know, uh, you really want to attack somebody else, and this does say that, but you don't really get the benefit of them attacking somebody else, except for the fact that they are doing your work for you. But this is a very strong deterrent. Don't come at me with two. What were we gonna say, Mike?
Um, you covered it. Just the multiplayer application, and I think I was going to make a comment about it's good to see that they can still make uh cards that are blatantly made for multiplayer and also to a lesser extent commander, and not have to put them in the commander set for the set, because that last ability of course lends itself very well to multiplayer games, but also the first ability, affinity for planeswalkers, also lends itself to this being a commander, because then you can get a discount on the commander tax if you have enough planeswalker friends out there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
In that same Facebook post where someone asked why is this worded this way, my smartass answer was, in case your opponent launches themselves across the table to attack you directly, Tomic will not trigger. That's important. I really like
So does
this
that
card.
mean you found it and you found the actual explanation?
No, I just remembered that. Oh yeah, I had a smartass
Oh,
response to
okay.
that. I could probably go look, but
Yeah.
All right, fine, I'll go look. Jeez, Mike, why are you like this? All right.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Luckily, a couple people reacted to my post, so I should be able to find the notification. Nope. Comment. Or maybe not. Yeah, no, I can't. I don't know. I would just go because it was our old Monday Night Magic buddy Will Blanks. It was something he posted, but his ass posts on Facebook like most people breathe.
Hmm.
So I might never find it. But oh well. I said somebody was explaining it, and I was just sort of glazed over because it was getting deep into the weeds. Oh, found it. Damn it. All right, so all comments. Da-da-da-da-da. It's because the ability wants to refer back to the creatures and to the opponent, so it mentions both. This this was Kelly Diggs who responded. It said this could also say whenever an opponent attacks you and or planeswalkers you control with two or more creatures, but I assume that was deemed less clear.
Okay, I get it.
So there you go.
Hmm.
That's one person's idea. The response that was also in that was wait for the FAQ. Sorry, the
I
FAQ.
guess so, because it feels like that they should be able to save words and say whenever an opponent attacks, if two or more creatures are attacking you and or planeswalkers you control. I feel like that should work, but yeah, I'm gonna have to read a detailed explanation of it to see why that doesn't just work.
Yeah. All right. But all that said, Tomic is still really good. So
Yes.
so I think the person that we would get to read Tristani just left. So one of you other two want to read it? Them?
Well, I just read Tomic, so
All right. So Tristani, Three Whispers. Um,
Look
has
at
a
that
hybrid
mana
so
cost.
cost here, yeah. 1 green, 1 green-white hybrid, and 1 white. Legendary Dryad. A 4/4, 4/4 for 3, so that's cool. And 3 activated abilities. So the first activated ability, 1 and a green, target creature gains Death Touch until end of turn. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, for a single green-white hybrid mana, target creature gains Vigilance until end of turn.
Mm-hmm.
I like that for just 1 mana.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, the first ability, anyone gets Death Touch for 2, that's nuts. And then the last one, 2 and a white, target creature gains Double Strike until end of turn, which is also a really good rate on Double Strike that can just go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like how
that's just useful, just all around. I like all of that.
Yeah, all of these are good, and they all seem appropriately costed. They're all instant speed, so you can be like, okay, guess which one has Death Touch?
I would say,
And
I guess it depends on what you mean by appropriately costed. They're not unfair, but they are pushed.
well, yeah, like none of them are none of them are overcosted. So, and then if you have a vanilla 5/5, or let's just even say this thing, because she does not they do not have any of these abilities innately. They're a 4/4. You can spend 6 mana to give it Death Touch, Vigilance, and Double Strike, which seems pretty awesome because Double Strike and Death Touch is just amazing. Um, and would you spend 6 mana on that? Yeah, I would, or at least the 4 for spend the 1 hybrid to get Vigilance, see how they block, and then activate from there. But obviously, if you're attacking with multiple creatures, it's even better because then, you know, you can spread the abilities out as you like it. And that's without even getting into the shenanigans of the fact that this is green, and a lot of green creatures have trample.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, this is just good. Hey, Dirk, what do you think of Trostani?
I like it. I like my favorite part is I can spend green mana and give target creature Death Touch.
That's your favorite part?
Yes, because Death Touch has traditionally been a black mana characteristic.
I mean, it's
black and green share it.
Yeah.
And white to give something Double Strike, which has been a red color mana characteristic. So I like it that I can be like, yeah, I'm gonna give this thing Death Touch, which is, is very much not normally in the color pie on my side.
It is shared, but it's much easier. It's easier to do in black than it is in green.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in green it's usually on like a little 2 mana thing that Mike hates.
Yeah.
Stupid 2 mana thing.
Yeah, because it's in everybody's limited pool but mine.
But yours, yeah.
And you usually have this big thing that's gonna wreck the board, unless something can kill it.
Mike's like, drew my bomb! And they're like, 2 mana, your bomb sucks. And Mike goes, can never attack with my bomb! All right.
Aside from that, I mean, I agree. This is a very fun card. It's got a lot of character, a lot of versatility to it, and it's not a very expensive card.
Yeah. Good stuff. So I'm going to take Urgent Necropsy because this card is silly. But not as good as you would think at first, but still silly. You guys remember Decimate?
Yes.
Yeah. So what was that? 2 a red and a green to blow up target creature, land, artifact? Is that right?
I feel like creature, land, artifact, and enchantment.
Oh God, was it all 4?
Yeah, it was 4.
Jesus. All right, so Urgent Necropsy for 2 a black and a green is an instant that says... Actually, you know what? We're going to skip that first part. It says destroy up to 1 target artifact, creature, enchantment, planeswalker. Up to one of each, by the way. It's not pick one.
Yeah.
It's one of all of those. But as an additional cost to cast the spell, you have to collect evidence X, where X is the total mana value of the permanents that it targets. So this can add up quickly. It's like, all right, I need to collect evidence. 12? Actually, 12 wouldn't be that bad.
And just so you don't get yourself too stressed out when trying to cast a spell, with the way collect evidence works, to collect evidence of some number, you just got to exile stuff with at least that much mana cost. You can go over. So if you're counting up the stuff you want to get rid of with urgent necropsy, that's like 7. But there's no way to make the stuff in your graveyard add up exactly to 7. That's fine. If you can get 8 or 9, that'll work too.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is like a new Decimate that targets planeswalkers instead of land, but has a fairly hefty additional cost to go with it.
Yeah, I don't really know how I feel about this. I feel like this is going to get stuck in your hand a lot. Not all the time, but enough that you're going to be like,
Yeah. Now, you don't have to target all of those things. Like, if your opponent has, like, a creature and an enchantment that are just wrecking your entire day, you could just get rid of those. And
I get that. I'm thinking more of the additional cost.
Well,
versus...
yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I like the way that in all these others, we're like, oh my god, you can do all of this for free. And for this one, we're like, the cost is going to matter.
Because for a lot of the ones we've talked about, it's been like an additional, like, this is how high you can go. For this, it's like this is kind of almost what's holding you back.
Yeah, this doesn't do anything without the evidence.
It's a mandatory cost instead of just extra stuff you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, technically, it's a new Decimate.
Yes.
Which is ridiculous.
It's still good. I like it. I just don't know that it has me as excited as some of the other stuff. But that's just me.
So, hey, Dirk's back. We should get him to read Vanifar.
Vanifar?
Isn't she from The Witcher? Wait, no.
That'd be Yennefer.
Yeah.
I never saw that show.
Did you play the game?
I've gone through almost all the books.
Nope.
So.
Did you read the books?
Nope.
Shut the hell up, Brian. I mean, what? Sorry, keep going, Dirk.
Vanifar evolved Enigma for 2 green-blue, so total of 4 mana. It's a 3/4 legendary creature, elf ooze wizard.
I didn't even see that.
Because if it doesn't have 3, types, it's not Simic. That is the key giveaway that it's Simic, is it has 3 types. And none
one of them is silly.
One of them's a job. One is a job. The other 2 are very much not. And it says, at the beginning of combat on your turn, choose 1. Cloak a card from your hand. So that's put it onto the battlefield face down as a 2/2. In other words, it's morphed. All right.
2/2 with ward 2. So
yeah. So Cloak, remember, is the improved manifest.
Then the other one is put a +1/+1 counter on each colorless creature you control.
And he got to the mute button. Did you hear that? The
I
absolute
did. That
legend.
Was impressed.
That was gonna blow us all away too.
That was good. But obviously, your colorless creatures are going to be artifacts. Well, although a lot of artifacts these days have color, but a lot of them don't. But also, all of your face down creature cards.
Yep.
So, which when they get flipped up, they keep those counters.
Yep.
The fact that she does this at the beginning of your upkeep, just for free, is pretty
beginning
awesome.
of combat.
beginning of combat. Even better, because then you can play this. Say you've got out, you put down something in disguise on turn 3, and then turn 4 you play this prior to combat. Hey, instant gratification.
Yeah. She's not like super powerful, but she's really good. I like her.
Yeah.
Something about a bunch of weird, like, dudes in trench coats with turned up collars suddenly getting buff just makes me happy. And we did Voja last week, right?
Maybe.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
Did we?
I don't know anymore.
I thought we did. Because we talked about how it works with. Didn't we?
I thought we did Voja, but I think we just mentioned that Voja's here. I don't think we read the card, because this does not sound familiar at all.
Well, we know Dirk didn't talk about it, so Dirk, why don't you tell us about Voja?
Yeah, this is also a U card, just because
Yeah.
it says a certain
Lots
thing.
of Dirk cards. Yeah.
Voja, Jaws of the Conclave. For 2, red, green, white. So total of 5 mana. It's a 5/5 legendary wolf. Because wolf. And it has vigilance, trample, and ward 3. Whenever Voja, Jaws of the Conclave, attacks, put X +1/+1 counters on each creature you control, where X is the number of elves you control. Draw a card for each wolf you control.
I like that Voja. None of that could matter, and it could just say when Voja attacks, draw a card, and I'm like, sold. Like a 5/5 with 3 abilities for 5, and when it attacks, draw a card. Yes.
And each one of those abilities corresponds to the color, doesn't it?
Sure.
Kind of.
Not really, no.
Yeah,
actually.
sort of.
But like, with just that, like, I'm sold. But then it's also could get bigger and could draw you more cards depending on what else you've got going on, and that makes me happy. Because as always, chat, more options.
It's more better.
More better. All right. Well, that's all the mythics. And good lord, we've been going for almost a full episode just talking about these. I think... Do we have the full set now? I think we do. Do we? I don't know.
I don't know.
Feels like a lot of cards.
It does. Good lord. Okay. Chat, I want you to know this. Okay, let me get it back to all rarities. There we go. So, it takes a fair amount of time to scroll through just this set. Like, I've got it scrolling by as I'm saying all this at no specific speed. Like, too fast to read cards. And, this is just the cards in the Murders at Karlov Manor base set. No other treatments or anything, just... Whoops. Although there's another treatment, so I don't know why that's there. But... Just the cards in the set. And it took... Oh, hang on. I keep running out of screen. It took that long to scroll through them. But if I put it to all of the Murders at Karlov Manor sets, and then put it to all card treatments, I think if I move at the same speed and talk for the same amount of time, I might beat a black. Like, I don't know why there are so many cards related to this set, but it just goes forever.
Yep.
Like, I know there's commander decks and whatnot, but there's always commander decks and whatnot. I feel like this one is just super stacked. Like, they're still loading. I just saw, while I'm scrolling down, I just saw my little scroll bar move up, which means stuff loaded at the bottom. This is ridiculous, chat. I'm in black right now, for those of you listening to the audio version. Like, it's just ridiculous how much is in this, is related to this set. Anyway, let me go back to just Murders at Karlov Manor and just the default treatments. There we go. Okay, that weird card that Brian mentioned earlier was, what did he say it was? Steam Core Scholar.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Which, it's rare. A 2/2 weird detective for 2 and a blue with flying and vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards. Then discard 2 cards unless you discard an instant or sorcery card or a creature card with flying. It's just getting bizarre now. And the flavor text is, that's weird. That is weird, though. Discard 2 cards unless it's an instant or a sorcery or a creature with flying. You're playing blue. That's all you could discard other than lands. Anyway, so what do we want to do now?
So I mentioned a card earlier, and I thought it was mythic. It's only rare, which it's still like awesome, but I'm surprised it's not mythic. So I'm just gonna go and mention it. If you go down to the bottom of the multicolored, this is Yaris, Roar of the Old Gods.
Okay.
You got it?
Yep.
Okay. So for 2, a green, and a red. Not sure why I read those out of order, but whatever. It's a 4/4. So 4/4 for 4. Other creatures you control have haste. Whenever 1 or more face-down creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. Whenever a face-down creature you control dies, return it to the battlefield face down under its owner's control if it's a permanent card, then turn it face up.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. So this works on so many levels. It gives it a free chance to, trade and die and then still come back, but it also comes back flipped up.
No, it comes back face down, and it'll trigger any sort of creature entering the battlefield things you might have. And then it turns face up, which will trigger whatever abilities care on the card itself or on other cards when it gets turned face up. That is freaking cool.
Yeah, I oversimplified. But yeah, think about some of the Croson Cloud Scraper, the stuff that, is stupidly expensive to turn face up for a reason. And it's just nah, just turn it face up now. So you're right, you get all these triggers. You get the dies triggers. You get the creature enters the battlefield trigger. And then you get the when this creature is turned face up or when a creature you control is turned face up. And this is a rare. It's not a mythic.
And it says the other creatures you control have haste, meaning if you have a sacrifice effect or something for that Croson Cloud Scraper just while you're bringing up things, it'll die, come back, flip up, and now if you, assuming that you haven't attacked, you've got a 13/13 with haste.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fun.
And it's a 4/4 for 4 mana. What? I'm not saying it's busted, but yeah, this is my favorite card that interacts with face down cards in the set that I have seen so far.
That it is a good one. I really like that. Oh, there is a colorless case. Did you guys see that?
Just
I glanced at it.
All right, Mike, read that.
All right, the Case of the Shattered Pact. It's uncommon, and it just costs 2 generic mana. When this case enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle.
Okay, right there, that's pretty good for 2 mana
Mm-hmm.
of any color. Like, that's cool. All right.
Yeah. To solve it, there need to be 5 colors among permanents you control. All right. And then once it's solved, it gets this triggered ability. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains flying, double strike, and vigilance till end of turn.
That is a hell of a payoff.
Yes. Very
For
big.
an uncommon, flying, double strike, and vigilance.
Now, if we scroll up some in multicolored, you'll see the new ley line. Ley line of the Guild Pact, which is it's a new ley line. And it's silly. Mike, you should read that too.
It is silly. Scroll to it where the screen doesn't run away from me. Okay. So Leyline of the Guild Pact is a rare enchantment, and the cost, all right, it costs a total of 4 mana, but it has a hybrid green-white symbol, a hybrid green-blue symbol, a hybrid black-green symbol, and a hybrid red-green symbol.
Yeah, so one of each of the hybrid green symbols.
Yeah. I also made a stupid post about this on Facebook. I responded to, I can't remember if it was Star City Games or whatever. And my comment was, the coward should have put a green-green hybrid in the mana card.
They should have.
So, it's a ley line, so it has this ability. If Leyline of the Guild Pact is in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. All right. Each non-land permanent you control is all colors. Lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their other types.
So it doesn't do anything silly like some of the other ley lines.
Right.
It's just, hey, your fixing is good and like your bloom tender is always God.
Yes.
But like when you pair it with this uncommon ass case down here, Ugh.
Yeah.
So I just thought we should cover those 2 cards there.
Yeah, and you don't even need to be playing all 5 colors because each of those symbols is a green something hybrid. You just need to be playing at least green and whatever else you feel like.
Exactly. I'm a fan of the ley line, mainly because it doesn't do anything completely insane. But it does.
Well, they always have to be careful with these because they can be free at the start of the game. So
exactly, yeah.
Weren't there a couple of them that ended up having to get banned in standard or modern or something?
I feel like maybe I can't remember anymore.
I think one of the green ones or something.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. The one that pumped everybody's toughness and gained some life and some stuff. It looks innocuous, but it adds up super fast. So
I can. Here we go. Be in our timeline. Control F. Leyline. Leyline of Abundance was banned in Pioneer.
Okay.
That is when you tap a creature for mana, add an additional green. And then for 8, you put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. That's the only ley line that's listed in the ban and restricted timeline.
Okay, I feel like Leyline of Abundance also had a problem in another format, but maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, it might have, but
that was the one I was thinking of.
It was never banned or restricted, at least according to this. When was the last time this was updated? It was updated in 2023, and I don't think we've had any bannings this year yet. So,
no, I'm remembering something from a long time ago, comparatively.
Okay. I mean, you're misremembering something from a long time ago because Control effing Leyline does not bring anything up.
I have the feeling that I am remembering something, but who knows whether that's accurate.
Ah, there we go. Okay. Anyway, Razorback said Krinko's Buzz Crusher in red is a fun card. Oh God, yeah. I want to get you guys to look at this one. Let's see. Okay, there's Krinko. There's the Buzz Crusher. Yeah. Okay, Brian, you should
Yes,
read
sir.
Krinko's Buzz Crusher.
I'm still navigating to it. It's in mono red.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's right next to
Like you
Knife.
said,
Kniffy?
right next to the knife. Okay. Yes. All right. Whoa. Okay. I guess I didn't see this one before. That's a picture there.
Isn't it?
For 2 and 2 red, it is an Insectopter rare. 4/4. So 4/4 for 4. We got a lot of those. This is an artifact Insectopter with flying and trample. When it enters the battlefield, for each player, destroy up to 1 non-basic land that player controls. For each land destroyed this way, its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. So this is doing a couple things. It's a 4/4 for 4 with flying and trample. It's not legendary. You can run as many of these as you want. It says for each player as well, including yourself, if you really want.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
and Jay Spencer
great,
just said this in the chat. There's a word missing from this that is very important. At least I thought it was very important.
Okay.
Like, to the point where I thought it was a mistake and there would be some day zero errata. But it turns out, no, it was done on purpose.
For destroy up to 1.
It's right there where the word is missing. You want a hint?
What's the word?
Target.
Yes. Oh.
Huh.
Yeah. This gets around lands with Hexproof and Shroud, and apparently there's one that's been causing an issue somewhere.
Lotus Veil.
That's the one.
Oh.
So this was printed without the word target on purpose, and I'm pretty sure someone said that Lotus Field, sorry, not Veil. Lotus Veil's the old card, yeah. But yeah, it was printed without the word target on purpose, and that card was brought up by name, and I think that might have been a Rosewater thing on Tumblr. I can't remember, but somebody somewhere said that.
Yeah, I know Lotus Field combo decks have been kind of obnoxious here and there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I was like, I want you guys to see this, because it doesn't say target, and I was like, that's got to be a mistake. Nope. What? Like, and my brain went, how do you target things which you don't target things? And you just do, like that one.
You just do.
Yeah, you just choose them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the one I want right there.
Are you targeting it?
How much
Nope.
is that? How much is that
And
land
that
in
means
the window? Oh wait.
that means you don't make the decision until this ability is resolving. So your opponent can't like speculatively sacrifice something or like active. I mean they have to guess. I mean sometimes
they can guess. Yeah.
Sometimes the guess is going to be pretty easy, but it won't be obvious.
But no, but you're right. They will not know for sure until they're like, all right, get rid of it. Well, if I want it, nope.
Yeah, they can't.
Like if they have a land with an ability that says, pay mana, tap, sack this, do something, then they kind of have to guess about what are you going to target? What are you going to choose? Sorry, not target. What are you going to choose when this actually resolves? Because if they go ahead and use that, so you won't rob them of it, then you could choose something else.
Just pick a different one. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Like if they've got more than one potential, I want to say target, but if they've got more than one land that fits the bill, then you're just going to choose a different one.
Yeah. So I just think this card is fascinating for that reason. That, and it's
Sure.
just a good card. Like,
Mhm.
that's just quality card design there. But the fact that they left out the word target just blew my mind. And Jay Spencer said it was a Rosewater Tumbler response. Thank you.
Wait,
Yeah.
you know what I like is some good wordplay, and it's on a common, but it's directly beneath Krenko's Buzz Crusher. If you have it sorted by default.
Uh,
The offender at large.
Yeah, yeah.
see, it's Purse of Interest below mine because I've got a bigger resolution. So,
So Mike, what's the offender at large?
The offender at large for 4 and a red is a 5/4 giant rogue
oh,
with,
boo!
with the disguise of 4 and a red. And when offender at large enters the battlefield or is turned face up to one target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn.
See, the card itself is like, it's fine, but it's when I look at the art at first, I'm like, oh, is that her perspective? Because she's running away, and then I was like, wait, no, because she's a
It's giant.
giant.
Yeah.
That's
Boo!
actually yeah.
While we're on wordplay, Razorback I also just brought it up. Red herring
Yes, I saw red herring.
is a clue fish.
Yes, it is.
For 1 and a red, you get a 2/2 artifact creature. It's common. With haste, that's important. It attacks each combat if able, and it's a clue, so you can pay 2 and sacrifice it to draw a card. I think it would have been better if it had the type clue fish, but you couldn't sacrifice it to draw a card. Because a red herring is a false clue.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's getting a little into the weeds, and I'm sure they didn't want to put clue on it and then not give it the clue ability.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, a red herring can still be a clue. It's just one that leads you to the wrong answer. So, I guess it depends on your definition of the word clue.
Yeah.
I just found it.
What'd you
looks
find?
to me, I feel like a really Torch the Witness. This feels really good. It's an uncommon sorcery for X and a red. So for X and a red, it deals twice X damage to target creature.
Mm-hmm.
If excess damage was dealt to that creature this way, investigate.
That seems pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
It's not like stupidly good or anything, but
No, but it's like, 2 mana to deal 2 damage to something. Okay, not great, but fine. 3 mana, deal 4 damage to something, getting better. And
Getting
if you hit
better.
a 3/3, then you get a clue too. But then, only needing to pay 4 mana to deal 6 damage to something. I would love to be able to kill a 6/6 for just 4 mana in many, many situations.
yeah.
I know Dirk probably needs to go before
Yes,
too long.
I need to head out.
So let me just say, because who wouldn't want to leave without some kind of really weird image stuck in your head?
Oh god.
There's a couple things in black that are like, ugh. Go to Fester Leech.
Yeah, Fester Leech's art is awful.
Yes, it is. For a single black, it's a zombie leech. It's uncommon. It's a 1/1. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you mill 2 cards, Mike. For 1 and a black, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Activate only once each turn. So it's a what were the root walla sort of thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
For a single black, that seems pretty good. And if your deck wants to do this, that's great. It can. If you also don't want to mill, maybe you're limited and you don't really want to do that. It can sit back and starting on turn 2, it can become a 3/3 blocker. But the flavor text.
Yup.
4 dead in zombie leech attack, dozens nauseated. Headline from the 10th District Times. Dirk, I know you gotta go, but, I don't want you to leave without seeing a
Weird
picture
thing.
of a giant leech getting ready to swallow a poor pigeon. So there you go.
I mean, pigeons are just rats with wings, so don't feel bad for the pigeon.
Well, I think I feel a little bad.
I think saying rats with wings is actually like it's being more mean to the rat.
And for some reason, this is not the only leech in the set. Ugh. But,
Oh yeah.
Dirk, you gotta go?
Yep.
All right.
Yes,
What you
I
got
need to
for
head
us,
out.
Dirk?
Part of the reason why I need to head out is number one, I'm exhausted and tired because last night, or the previous night, I was at a conference tournament for our swim team, and we won, men's and women's won conference championship, but I didn't leave until 10, and where it was held is about 30 minutes away from the house, so I didn't get in until late, and I'm exhausted from that, and I really just need to go to bed.
Yeah.
So,
Good night, Dirk.
with that, you guys have a wonderful evening. That was my final thought, by the way. So, I bid you all adieu.
Night, Dirk. All right. So, what do we do now? Do we keep going, or do we also call it for the night?
I mean, there was one more card I really, really wanted to talk about. I don't know if Dirk would mind or not, but otherwise, I'm probably good to be wrapping it up.
So wait, what's that? There's one more card you want to talk about or not?
Yes.
Okay, what is it?
You guys know Stuffy Doll?
Yes. He's adorable. I forgot what color that's in.
Barbed Servitor in black is a new take on Stuffy Doll. For 3 and a black, it's a 1/1 artifact creature construct. It is rare. It has indestructible, so that is part of its Stuffy Dollness. When it enters the battlefield, suspect it. It is very sus. But
It
that
really is.
importantly, obviously, it can't block. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Very typical of a black creature. Very nice. And you're like, well, it's a 1/1. How often is it going to get through, even though it has menace? Whenever Barbed Servitor is dealt damage, target opponent loses that much life. Keep in mind, unless it's no longer a suspect, that's going to be at least 2 creatures.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, if you find a way to drop the suspect part of it, it can start blocking. And yeah, that stupid, 8/8 dinosaur is going to be probably staying at home.
Yeah, I really like the tension on this. Like, your opponent, it's a stupid 1/1, so they don't want to have to devote 2 blockers to it, but also, it's drawing you cards.
It's drawing you cards.
But if
And
they
maybe
do
you're
block
like,
it,
well,
they won't kill it. They'll just take more damage.
yeah, potentially a decent amount of damage, unless they've got, like, some 0/2s just lying around. And at the same time, when you're drawing cards, you're also losing life. So then the opponent has to decide, well, wait a minute, this is also dealing you damage, but it's drawing you cards. So this survives wraths that don't exile. So there's a lot going on here. Aside from just what the card says, there's all the things the card does and doesn't do.
Right.
I've seen a couple cards that are like suspects are no longer suspects. Like, I think the very first card in white at the very, very top. Absolving Lamasu. When it enters the battlefield, all suspected characters are no longer suspected. So you're
Oh, thanks,
like,
Lamasu.
I have pardoned you for your sins. You are absolved. I haven't looked at every card in the set with a fine-tooth comb to see um, if there's much else that does that.
How dare? Let's do suspected search. Let's see. Eliminate the impossible in blue. Does that for opponent's creatures. Nope. Presumed dead. Nope. Repeat offender. Nope. Huh. Oh my god. Did you guys see Frantic Scapegoat in red?
I glanced at it and I kept going, and I was like, we're gonna have to talk about that. I haven't actually read it what it does.
So for a single red, it's an uncommon goat. It's a 1/1 with haste. When it enters the battlefield, suspect it.
Of course, because it's a scapegoat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then, whenever one or more other creatures enter the battlefield under your control, if Frantic Scapegoat is suspected, you may suspect one of the other creatures. If you do, Frantic Scapegoat is no longer suspected.
I like this.
Yeah.
And the art is just top tier. I'm gonna have to show this to Sam.
Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a goat that's the scapegoat, but also like it has a nice, useful, ability, like on itself. It like a 1/1 for one. You can drop this and you're getting in there for damage for at least a turn. Like they're not going to be able to stop you, and then later, when they have ways to stop it, you can just suspect something else that would be better. So yeah, I really like it. And oh, airtight alibi, of course. Airtight alibi removes suspicion.
Did we not talk? I think we did talk about that last time.
Oh, did we?
But not in the context of it removing suspicion. So
yeah, it's for 2 and a green flash enchant creature aura. When it enters the battlefield, you untap enchanted creature. It gains hexproof until end of turn. If it's suspected, it's no longer suspected. So, oh yeah, we did talk about that last week.
Yeah.
Oh, and the enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and can't become suspected. Did we? I don't know if we talked about it. If we did, it didn't stick in my brain.
Maybe I just looked at it. Yeah.
I really like the way that the name works with the card mechanic. That one was clearly top down. And then... oh, Deadly Complication in black-red. For 1 black-red, sorcery, uncommon, choose one or both, destroy target creature, put a +1/+1 counter on target suspected creature you control. You may have it become no longer suspected. I really like that. That's a kill
like
something with a bonus, maybe.
Yeah, I really like how they're leaning into the, you can remove suspected if you want, but you may not want to.
Yeah. Yeah, like we talked about when we, did Suspect last week, it's got a really neat balancing factor in and of itself that I like the idea of playing with. And that is the story spotlight on a murder. It's a fairly important murder. Spoilers, I guess?
I guess.
I mean, if you're referring to the one I think you are, it's kind of a backbone of the story. So.
Well, it's Deadly Complication, so it was when a different person died. An important one.
Yeah, but that's like in chapter 2.
Oh, okay.
So
that's when Teysa died.
Yeah.
There she is, dead on the art. But she's Orzhov, right? So death is just sort of a...
I mean, yeah, if you go to white, I can find it. She does not have a ghost creature yet, but spoiler alert, she's
is it Call a Surprise Witness?
Call a Surprise Witness, yes.
Yeah, there she is.
Yeah.
Why will a little thing like death stop me from running the syndicate? I'm going to be here for a long, long time. I
mean,
like it.
the members of the Ghost Council have been doing it for
Yeah.
Ever.
essentially forever.
Yeah.
Well, they were. Kaya, I think,
Well, yeah.
killed them, but
I mean, until they got, busted.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever asked Kaya if busting makes her feel good?
Somebody did one time.
Busting. All right, I think on that note, we should probably stop for the night. I hate to say it, but I really love the way they're working all of any sort of murder mystery element at all that you could possibly think of. I think is on a card.
If it's a murder mystery trope, it's here.
Oh, not even the tropes, just anything that's ever happened in a murder mystery. There's a card in the Commander set that makes Scooby-Doo. Like, as a token. His name is Tiny.
Are we sure it's not Scrappy then?
I hate you. Or maybe it is Scooby-Doo and Tiny is the Scrappy-Doo reference? I can't remember now. I'm sure chat remembers. But yeah, there's just a lot going on here. But all right then. So, dorks, how about some final thoughts then?
For my part, set looks really, really interesting. I didn't know about it going into it because I'm not a huge Clue person. Sam loves Clue, but I don't know. And then even last week, I was like, all right, I've seen Morph, and this is Morph with an upside, but I've seen this before. I've seen Manifest, so I didn't know how much I'd be into it. But I think first of all, the flavor of the set is just spot on. There's no doubt about that. But I think some of the individual cards have caught me more than just the theme. And then the story really was pretty good. Um, and I think I find myself looking as usual in some of the more Johnny stuff, like especially some of the cases. I'm like, ooh, that could be really interesting. So far, I'm digging it.
The card
Seems
is
interesting.
Sophia Dogged Detective in the Commander set. Oh, let me just show it. Sophia Dogged Detective for 1, a green, a white, and a blue is a 3/4 legendary human detective. When she enters the battlefield, you create Tiny, a legendary 2/2 green dog detective creature token with trample. You can pay 1 and sacrifice an artifact token to put a +1/+1 counter on each dog you control. And whenever a dog you control deals combat damage to a player, create a food token, then investigate. So it's like Scooby Snacks.
Yeah.
And then when Scooby bumbles into something, then you give him a Scooby Snack and there's a clue because he bumbled into something. It goes right with, what was it, Meddling Youths?
Yeah.
From the
Sometimes
main set?
accompanied by an intelligent dog, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There, that's your Scooby-Doo reference from the Commander set.
Okay. But set looks great. Personal note, everything's going okie dokie. Don't really have anything else to report at the moment, which is pretty nice, I guess. No horrible news, so I'll take it. I've been tired lately, but that's an effect of growing up, I think. So.
Oh, have you grown up?
One day at a time. Certainly been dragging my feet.
All right. Mike?
Let's see. What's the release date for this?
No idea.
I think it said at the top. Releases February 9th. Releases February 9th. Does that mean that?
Well, I mean,
I guess pre-releases are next weekend then, right?
I guess.
Wow.
Hell, I don't know. Didn't they change something to change street date or something? Or you can buy the cards at the pre-releases or something? Didn't that happen? I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, yeah. Okay. Well, So I guess I'll have to think about what I might be doing next weekend.
We're not going to be doing D&D next weekend. We've said that. Now, I said that last weekend, and then, that changed. But, well, wait, we have, wow, I'm speaking over myself. Never mind.
Brian talks so much that he's managed to interrupt himself twice.
Yeah.
Pre-release
It's
events.
either a new high or a new low for me.
Pre-release events are available all week, February 2nd to the 8th. So that's weird, but yeah, so it is next weekend. Second to the 8th. Is that new? That you can run pre-releases for all week? This is on the Wizards Play Network site.
Maybe.
Maybe? Everyone just does it on the weekend, so I don't know. But there you go. So it is, in fact, next weekend starting on the 2nd. So Mike was correct in his assessment.
Good job, Mike.
Who are you to make assessments? Anyway. So anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Well, fair enough. For me, I've been playing Final Fantasy III on Friday nights. Like the Japanese Final Fantasy III, the one that we didn't get in the States for a very, very, very long time. And when we did, it was a 3D remake for some reason. But I've been playing the Pixel Remaster, which is a remastered version of the original 2D one. And it is a lot of fun. So you should come hang out on Friday nights on twitch.tv/themanapool. Hey, on Thursdays we do this show. Most times. Sometimes. And I stream periodically several nights a week. I decided I was doing Separate Ways run, Resident Evil 4's DLC on hardcore, and decided I didn't want to stream that. So I'm going to finish the hardcore run myself off stream. And then I am going to stream the professional difficulty. That's the hardest difficulty. Minimalist, which means guns and handguns and knives only. No shotguns, no grenades, no rocket launcher. And what was the other thing? No survivors, which means if I see an enemy, it has to die. No running away from things to conserve ammo and make it easy. No. We're killing everything that moves. I did that in the base game of RE4, and it was a lot of fun, except for a couple of very specific parts that made me wish I was dead in real life. But there aren't, I don't think, any of those parts in Separate Ways, other than the boss fights. The boss fights are going to make me wish I was dead trying to do this. But that's part of the fun of watching the stream. So it's going to be a challenge run. So I'm going to be starting that very soon. I'm also going to be starting, what is the game? Doom Eternal. I finally managed to uninstall enough other games to make room for it, because it's really big. Thank you for noticing. But it's the most recent, the final Doom game, to finally finish up that franchise run that I started so long ago. And I've been playing the Among Us DLC and Vampire Survivors, which, if you're a fan of either of those games, if you've got Vampire Survivors and you know anything about Among Us, I highly recommend you pick up that DLC. And if you don't, you probably still should, because the new weapons are really fun. So, yeah, and it's like $3 or something. I don't remember, but it will not break your bank. I bought it, so that means you could probably afford it, because I'm broke. But is that all I've been up to lately? I think that's all I'll be up to late there for the near future. Separate Ways, Vampire Survivors, Final Fantasy 3, Doom Eternal. Which that's enough, right? Yeah.
I think that's good.
Yeah. So, real quick, don't forget patreon.com/themanapool. You can get early access to shows. You can get the odds and ends, which I have been working on diligently. I'm very sorry for the delay with those. As always, I'm cursed to never be caught up on them. But soon I will break that curse, because there's, counting this episodes, there are 10 left. And I'm doing them in batches of like 2 and 3. So, very soon, I'll be caught up on the odds and ends, possibly for the first time ever. So that's momentous. But if you join in, you've got, God, I don't even know how many odds and ends files from past shows, which are just what we record before and after the show. So if you've ever wanted to hear us rant about things, use bad words, and rant about things that wouldn't make it on the show, like, you know, politics, or get even more angry at Wizards of the Coast, or just what all we've been up to, even more than we do on the odds and or the final thoughts here. Things that have been going on, random goofy nonsense. It's all the stuff, like I said, from before and after the show. And they're going up regularly, and I'm almost done. I'm very excited about that. But yeah, so let me thank our Mythic lifeguards who get the sponsorship shout out. And let's do it in, I don't know, this order. That's the same order. There we go. So thank you to ALK Alt. Wait, hang on. Let me make sure. Okay, there we go. ALK Alters, Kim Ho, Jason Doan, Jake Jansons, Casey, Jason Kaus, Andrew Odie, John Parker, Beardy Man, Scuzzo, Team Uhellas, Haryu, and Al. Yay, thank you all so very much for your support at every tier, all of you, all the time. And if you're not on Patreon, one, you totally could be, huh? Help a brother out. Give me time to make more things so I don't have to do 2 dash shifts every freaking day. But you also are going to get first crack at these Lord of the Rings videos if I can ever find the time to get back to them. I took, like, the second half of December, I stopped working on it because everything sucked. And I just haven't had time to go back yet. Because I found the odds and ends and was like, damn it! But those will be caught up very soon, and then I'm going to get back to the Lord of the Rings project. Oh, dear God. It's okay. With that, I think that's enough. So, this has been episode 695, holy crap, of the Mana Pool. Thank you all so very much for joining us, and don't be suspicious. Or be very suspicious. Whichever works for you.